Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The NFL world just exploded with news that nobody saw coming until the very last moment. And yes, it involves one of the most feared pass rushers in recent memory. T.J. Watt, the superstar linebacker who terrorized quarterbacks in Pittsburgh for years, has officially closed a deal with the Washington Commanders, instantly transforming the team's defensive outlook and sending ripples through the entire league. Imagine the shockwaves, the rumors, the whispers among fans and analysts alike, all converging in one chaotic moment when the news broke. For years, Pittsburgh held on to what is a cornerstone of their defense, a relentless force who seemed almost untouchable, but the tides have changed. Sources close to the negotiations hinted that talks had been happening behind the scenes for months, with Washington determined to secure a player of Watt's caliber to not only boost their defensive line, but also to signal a message to the rest of the NFC. This isn't just a signing. It's a strategic move that reshapes expectations, sets the stage for rivalries, and creates a narrative that media outlets will run with endlessly, from preseason predictions to potential playoff showdowns. And fans everywhere are already imagining the chaos on Sundays when Watt lines up against defensive lines that have never faced this kind of relentless pressure before. Rumors have been swirling about T.J. Watt's future ever since whispers emerged that Pittsburgh might not be able to retain him long-term due to salary cap constraints and shifting team priorities. Analysts debated endlessly about whether Watt would remain loyal to the Steelers, whether another team would swoop in with an irresistible offer, and whether his unique skill set could truly transform a struggling franchise into a contender overnight. When news finally leaked that Washington had secured his signature, social media erupted in a frenzy of speculation, memes, and heated debates about how this signing will alter the balance of power in the NFC. Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Commanders, has long been known for his aggressive defensive schemes, but adding Watt to his arsenal suddenly elevates his strategic potential to levels most analysts hadn't even dared to consider. The idea that Watt, with his unparalleled ability to read quarterbacks, close gaps, and dominate the line of scrimmage, will now be executing Quinn's defensive vision is sending shockwaves through not just the league, but also the entire football community. From casual fans to diehard stat enthusiasts, everyone is now dissecting the implications, imagining how Watt's presence could turn what was once a respectable but inconsistent defense into a feared, headline-grabbing juggernaut that opponents will have to game plan against with an almost obsessive focus. Washington's locker room is reportedly buzzing with excitement and anticipation following the confirmation of Watt's arrival, with teammates already envisioning how his relentless energy and championship mentality will transform team culture in ways that extend far beyond mere statistics. Sources claim that the initial meetings between Watt and Dan Quinn were electric, filled with strategic discussions, playbook explorations, and a shared understanding of the kind of pressure they intend to apply to opposing quarterbacks. The signing isn't just about individual talent. It's about creating a ripple effect that motivates younger players, elevates veteran performance, and instills a pervasive sense of defensive dominance throughout the roster. Rumors suggest that Watt has already been in intense conversations with key defensive leaders, outlining strategies, adjusting formations, and even debating audibles, as if the entire team is recalibrating around his presence. Analysts are quick to point out that a player of Watt's caliber doesn't simply adapt to a system. He transforms it, reshaping assignments, shifting priorities, and challenging both teammates and opponents to match his intensity every single snap. Social media chatter now includes heated debates comparing Washington's new defensive potential to some of the most dominant units in recent NFL history, while fans are eagerly anticipating game day scenarios where Watt could single-handedly disrupt opposing offenses, force turnovers, and become a headline-making presence in every highlight reel. The strategic implications of Watt joining the Commanders extend far beyond the immediate defensive impact, raising questions about how rival NFC teams will respond to what can only be described as a major power shift. Speculation is rampant about the kinds of matchups we will see in the upcoming season, particularly when Washington faces division rivals who have long prided themselves on their offensive lines. Coaches are reportedly re-evaluating schemes, while offensive coordinators across the league are scrambling to imagine blocking strategies capable of containing Watt's explosive athleticism and football intelligence. Meanwhile, the ripple effect of this signing is already visible in fantasy football projections, sports betting lines, and fan forums, all attempting to gauge the potential magnitude of Watt's impact. Industry insiders hint that this move was meticulously orchestrated, with Dan Quinn's front office calculating every variable, from salary cap maneuvering to defensive alignment, ensuring that Watt's arrival would maximize both performance and psychological advantage. What adds to the intrigue is the timing. Securing Watt now sets the stage for a statement season, a declaration that Washington is no longer content with mediocrity, but is intent on commanding attention, dominating opponents, and establishing a new hierarchy within the league that other teams will struggle to contest. The excitement and tension surrounding this development have reached a fever pitch as fans, analysts, and rival franchises prepare for the dramatic consequences of Watt's shift in allegiance. One of the most compelling aspects of this saga is the narrative tension created by Watt leaving Pittsburgh, a city and fan base that adored him, for Washington, where expectations are simultaneously higher and more scrutinized. Pittsburgh fans have expressed a mix of heartbreak, frustration, and disbelief, questioning how a franchise that built itself around what could let such a critical piece walk away. Social media has been flooded with emotional tributes, nostalgic highlight reels, and impassioned debates about whether this was the right decision for both Watt and the Steelers. Meanwhile, Washington supporters are embracing Watt as a savior figure, heralding the dawn of a new era and celebrating what they perceive as the culmination of smart, aggressive management decisions. Industry analysts are framing this not merely as a player transfer, but as a symbolic declaration, almost a war cry, signaling that Washington intends to contend, dominate, and force the rest of the league to recalibrate their expectations. Every angle has been analyzed, from Watt's leadership style to his compatibility with Quinn's schemes, while fan forums have become breeding grounds for speculation, potential game-changing scenarios, and endless comparisons to other high-profile NFL moves that reshaped franchises almost overnight. The financial and contractual details of the deal, while officially undisclosed in full, are generating their own wave of analysis and rumor as experts dissect potential salary figures, bonus structures, and incentives that might explain why Watt chose Washington over remaining in Pittsburgh. Speculation includes not only the monetary aspects but also the strategic and professional motivations behind the move, including the opportunity to work with Dan Quinn, join a defense poised for breakout success, and carve out a lasting legacy in a city hungry for dominance. Analysts have suggested that Watt's decision reflects a careful balancing of career trajectory, personal ambition, and competitive desire, with Washington providing a unique platform to maximize all three factors simultaneously. The broader implications for team-building strategies are significant, as other franchises now observe Washington's approach with keen interest, considering how elite talent can be leveraged to create both performance excellence and marketable narratives. Meanwhile, fans and media outlets are dissecting every statement from Watt and the Commanders' front office, searching for subtle clues about future plans, locker room dynamics, and the culture shift that his arrival will inevitably catalyze, while rival teams prepare to adapt defensively and offensively to the looming challenge that Watt's presence represents in every upcoming matchup. Every conversation around this deal seems to return to one central question. How will TJ Watt change the trajectory of Washington's season, and can his presence transform potential into tangible success? Analysts argue that Watt doesn't just contribute statistically. He elevates teammates, commands attention from opposing coordinators, and forces strategic adaptations that ripple across every snap of every game. The rumor mill is already spinning with predictions about highlight reel plays, game-changing sacks, forced fumbles, and pressure-driven turnovers, as fans speculate about the explosive potential of a Watt-led defense under Quinn's guidance. Social media is a non-stop feedback loop of projections, memes, hypothetical matchups, and debates over whether this move places Washington in contention for conference dominance. From a narrative perspective, Watt's shift also adds layers of drama to long-standing rivalries, reignites historical matchups, and gives sports commentators endless fodder for storytelling throughout the season. The combination of athletic prowess, strategic fit, and media attention guarantees that Watt will be more than just a player. He will become a symbol, a focal point, and a driving force that shapes how the league perceives Washington and redefines the stakes in every critical game. Finally, the cultural impact of this signing cannot be overstated, as TJ Watt is more than a defensive powerhouse. He is a personality, a brand, and an influencer who will inevitably alter team dynamics, fan engagement, and media narratives in Washington and beyond. From press conferences to social media campaigns, every aspect of Watt's presence will be amplified, scrutinized, and celebrated as fans immerse themselves in the unfolding story of his transition from Pittsburgh hero to Washington centerpiece. Analysts are already considering how this move affects endorsements, team marketing, and the broader perception of Washington as a franchise capable of attracting top-tier talent. The rumors surrounding Watt's integration into the locker room, potential mentorship of younger players, and leadership role in defensive strategy have created a sense of anticipation akin to a championship rebuild, with every fan, analyst, and rival coach speculating on outcomes, strategies, and defining moments. With the stage set, the drama unfolds, and football enthusiasts everywhere are bracing for a season that promises to blend on-field dominance with off-field intrigue, where TJ Watt's presence will resonate in every narrative, highlight, and headline as Washington embarks on a bold, aggressive journey to redefine their identity and assert themselves as a force to be reckoned with in the NFL landscape. The ripple effect of TJ Watt's move to Washington is already shaping up to be a defining storyline for the upcoming NFL season, and the intensity of speculation is unlike anything fans have experienced in recent years. Every analyst, commentator, and insider seems to have an opinion, a projection, or a theory about how Watt will fit into Dan Quinn's defensive vision and the wider scheme of the NFC landscape. Rumors are circulating that Watt has already begun informal strategy sessions with key defensive linemen, engaging in discussions that go beyond playbooks and into instinctual adjustments, positioning, and rapid read decision-making. Observers suggest that this level of collaboration, if realized fully, could make Washington's pass rush one of the most feared in decades, forcing opponents to rethink long-standing offensive assumptions. Social media platforms are ablaze with potential matchups, statistical predictions, and highlight reel scenarios, each more dramatic than the last, as fans debate the precise magnitude of Watt's impact. Comparisons to legendary defensive units are flying fast, with every commentator trying to situate this signing within historical context, examining the parallels between Watt's aggressive style and some of the most game-altering defenders the league has ever seen. Beyond statistics, the psychological impact of Watt's presence is already being dissected, with opponents expected to feel a tangible pressure simply from his reputation, creating a domino effect of strategic shifts across multiple teams. The buzz surrounding Washington has extended far beyond the locker room and analyst studios, reaching the hearts and minds of rival teams who are now scrambling to anticipate and counteract the inevitable disruptions Watt will bring. Sources close to offensive coordinators indicate that game planning for Washington has become an immediate priority for several NFC franchises, each exploring new blocking schemes, quick pass strategies, and unconventional line protections designed specifically to neutralize Watt's relentless pressure. Rumors suggest that quarterbacks and offensive linemen across the league are now mentally calculating potential scenarios where Watt could dominate, forcing play-action hesitation, increased quarterback anxiety, and critical mistakes under duress. Meanwhile, speculation regarding Watt's individual preparation has reached fever pitch, with insiders hinting at off-season training regimens, film study habits, and strategic experiments that could give him an early-season advantage. Fans are meticulously analyzing past footage, debating how Watt's unique skill set will translate into Dan Quinn's hybrid defensive scheme, and envisioning electrifying plays that could swing momentum, secure key wins, and cement Washington as a legitimate contender. From a media standpoint, this storyline has instantly become a marquee narrative, giving sports shows, podcasts, and YouTube channels endless material to dissect, dramatize, and debate, ensuring that Watt's arrival will dominate headlines well before the season even kicks off, generating excitement, speculation, and, inevitably, more rumors that continue to escalate the anticipation around every snap. The human element of Watt's transition to Washington has also fueled a torrent of discussion, particularly around team chemistry, leadership dynamics, and locker room culture. Sources suggest that his arrival has already prompted informal meetings, one-on-one conversations with key veterans, and motivational discussions aimed at cultivating a defensive identity that is both aggressive and disciplined. Rumors indicate that Watt's influence is expected to ripple beyond his immediate position group, inspiring secondary players, linebackers, and even the coaching staff to elevate their focus and intensity. Analysts argue that the intangible impact of a player like Watt cannot be overstated. His presence alone could transform a respectable defense into a cohesive, near-unstoppable force capable of dictating the pace and tone of games. Fan speculation often revolves around the interplay between Watt and the rest of the defensive roster, with heated debates over which combinations will be deployed in crucial situations and how these alignments might overwhelm opposing offenses. Even casual viewers are tuning in to discussions of Watt's influence on pre-snap adjustments, blitz timing, and defensive audibles, creating a sense that every game will feature high-stakes chess matches where Watt acts as the fulcrum of tactical advantage. The narrative of leadership, mentorship, and cultural transformation adds another layer of intrigue, making his move a story that transcends pure statistics and performance metrics. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. As the NFL landscape absorbs the magnitude of Watt's signing, social media platforms have become the epicenter of fan speculation, rumor propagation, and spirited debate, each post amplifying the perception that Washington's defensive future has fundamentally changed. Highlights of Watt's previous seasons in Pittsburgh are being dissected with surgical precision, with analysts emphasizing sack ratios, quarterback pressures, forced fumbles, and situational performance under high-stakes conditions. Rumors now swirl about how quickly he will acclimate to Quinn's schemes, whether he will dominate early, and how offensive coordinators across the league will adapt week by week to counter his relentless pressure. Memes, polls, and video breakdowns proliferate online, each contributing to a narrative that is both entertaining and ominous, suggesting that opposing quarterbacks may enter games already wary of what Watt can do to disrupt their rhythm. Insider chatter hints at a season-long psychological advantage for Washington, as Watt's reputation and skill set create a constant sense of urgency for opposing teams. Analysts and commentators continue to speculate about potential playoff scenarios where Watt could serve as the difference-maker, delivering game-changing plays at critical moments, while fantasy football enthusiasts attempt to model the knock-on effects of his presence on defensive stats, turnovers, and points allowed. Every angle seems to circle back to one idea. Watt's signing is not merely a roster addition. It's a seismic event in NFL strategy, culture, and storytelling. The ongoing discourse among fans, journalists, and insiders increasingly frames this signing as the beginning of a strategic war, not just a player acquisition. Rumors of rivalries intensifying are rampant, particularly against NFC East opponents, who now face a defensive juggernaut capable of shifting game outcomes with a single explosive play. Analysts predict that offensive playbooks will undergo significant revisions, with blocking schemes adapted to contain Watt, and passing strategies recalibrated to avoid high-pressure situations that could result in turnovers or sacks. Social media chatter amplifies these predictions, with fans creating hypothetical scenarios, assigning potential MVP implications, and speculating on how a Watt-led defense might dictate playoff outcomes. Behind the scenes, reports suggest that coaching staffs are already considering mid-season tactical pivots to account for the added defensive capability, with internal drills and simulated matchups designed to test countermeasures against his relentless edge-rushing style. Industry insiders emphasize that such a player impacts far more than individual statistics, affecting game psychology, tempo control, and overall team confidence. Washington's front office appears to have executed a calculated gamble, securing a transformational asset capable of changing both perception and performance, and the NFL is watching closely to see whether this gamble pays off in dominance, results, and a potential reshaping of NFC East dynamics for years to come. The media frenzy surrounding What's move has created a layered narrative that blends rumor, strategy, and spectacle, ensuring that every appearance, comment, and play will be analyzed for hidden meanings and predictive insight. Speculation abounds regarding how quickly he will integrate into the defensive rotation, whether he will assume a leadership role immediately, and how his style will influence in-game decision-making by Quinn and defensive coordinators. Analysts debate whether Watt's presence will encourage riskier blitzes, more aggressive edge plays, or dynamic secondary coverage adjustments, while rival teams scramble to anticipate and neutralize potential threats. Fans, of course, are contributing to the hype machine, sharing breakdown videos, predictive graphics, and mock scenarios that highlight the possible season-defining impact of this acquisition. Even casual observers are now invested in watching how Watt interacts with teammates during practice, pre-game warm-ups, and media sessions, eager to detect early signs of chemistry, strategy, or potential challenges. Every interview, tweet, or rumor adds layers to the overarching storyline, feeding a cycle of anticipation and analysis that will dominate the football conversation well into the regular season. The combination of elite athleticism, tactical influence, and narrative drama makes Watt's arrival a seismic event that touches every aspect of team performance, fan engagement, and media storytelling. On a psychological level, Watt's signing has sent ripples of both excitement and intimidation across the NFL, as players, coaches, and fans begin to mentally calculate the consequences of facing him on the field. Rumors indicate that quarterbacks in upcoming matchups are already factoring his presence into their pre-snap decisions, considering altered footwork, faster releases, and increased reliance on quick passes to avoid his disruptive influence. Analysts speculate that the defensive ripple effect could influence entire offensive game plans, from personnel decisions to timing adjustments, while the mental pressure exerted by Watt's reputation might cause errors even before the first snap. Fans are theorizing about signature moments, match-winning plays, and potential record-breaking statistics, imagining how a Watt-led defense could redefine the perception of Washington as a team capable of contending for conference supremacy. Behind the scenes, coaching staff and coordinators are reportedly designing contingency plans, adjusting schemes, and simulating high-pressure scenarios that anticipate Watt's impact, demonstrating the far-reaching strategic consequences of acquiring a player of his caliber. The psychological narrative intertwines with performance expectations, creating a layered story that blends reality, rumor, and speculation into a compelling saga that will unfold throughout the season. Finally, the anticipation. Surrounding TJ Watt in Washington is more than just a sports headline. It's a story of potential, strategy, and the allure of dominance, with every rumor, report, and insider tip feeding into a narrative of transformation and ambition. Fans, analysts, and rivals alike are captivated by the possibilities, imagining a defense that not only challenges but terrorizes opposing offenses, while social media buzz amplifies every theory and speculation into a cultural phenomenon. Rumors about his leadership style, preseason performance, and immediate impact continue to circulate, fueling a sense of urgency and excitement around every practice, press conference, and game day. The NFL community is collectively holding its breath, aware that a player of Watt's caliber has the power to alter competitive dynamics, redefine rivalries, and inject drama into every matchup he participates in. From locker room dynamics to playbook adaptation, from fan expectations to media narratives, Watt's move embodies the full spectrum of what makes football compelling, blending athleticism, strategy, and storytelling into a single, electrifying package that promises to dominate headlines, conversation, and speculation from kickoff to the final whistle. This is not just a signing. It is the birth of a narrative that will dominate the NFL landscape and define Washington's season for years to come. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.